All right, how's it going? My name is Brent from Encore PPF and Tint, and today we are going to be working on a Tesla Model X hatch. So we're going to install on this piece here and the spoiler. Now, this kit is cut out by Core. I've never installed a kit on this vehicle before, so this is going to be the first time me putting one of these on. I don't know how well it wraps in towards the glass, so I did add an extra ½ inch there to make sure that I get all the coverage that I want. Using kits on something like this it works out well if the pattern fits good, because you can use all this material here for any part you can fit in there, so headlights and things like that. Whereas if I'm doing bulking this, I'm going to end up just probably wasting that middle section. So let's go ahead and see how this fits and how it installs. I'm going to open this a bit here. And then I'll use this spray nozzle, this hose nozzle, to hold it open. That way we can hang this over and wrap. All right. Let's see where we want to line this up to get started. All right, so we can see that this relief cut here should be on that very corner. So I'm going to go ahead and start there, but I am going to keep an eye out and make sure that everything else is lining up really well. Okay. I'm out of tack solution. I don't know how I do this every time I turn the camera on. All right, let's kind of check how this is lining up here. And that looks good right there. So I'm going to tack this down. We'll give that a moment while we stretch this across and into place. Okay, now what we need to do is stretch all of this way and get this to line up, which it looks like it's lining up really well, which is a little disconcerting because we have a big finger right here. All right, so I'm lining up this corner. It appears that there is a lot less stretch than I anticipated. And so we're gonna have to see what we can do with that finger over there. All right, so let's tack this corner down because we know that this is placement is correct. Just making sure I get everything lined up. All right, now let's try to figure all this out here. So we've got some fingers and that. Let's try just getting this to lay down here. Let's line this up first. Something like that looks pretty good, although we have a heck of a finger there, so we're gonna work on that in a moment. So let's go ahead and we'll squeegee out across this ridge here on the body line. And then we'll kind of start bringing this stuff down. Okay, now that we've got a spot we can start from up here with the squeegee. Got a little dot under the material here. Okay. So I just pull that back and I just scratch that dot with my fingernail to get it out. And then you re-wet everything down and then squeegee it back out again. All right, let's work on this finger now. Okay, what we're gonna do is try and split that up a bit. And actually, I don't want to use tack solution yet. Try to get that most of the way down, and then we'll throw some tack in there. Otherwise, we might end up with some work marks in the adhesive, and I don't want that. Okay. That's how you get a finger down, no problem. Pull this back, get rid of this pre-tacking. Okay. And we'll go ahead and squeegee some more of this out. Bring this off the side. Okay, that's hitting a little bit there. Let's see what we can do with that. Okay, that's better. All right, now we're gonna need some tack in this, but let's wait a moment and get some of this out of the way. Okay. Just make sure you're not leaving any moisture on this edge. So that's going to wrap right nice into there. It's a little long on the sides here. We'll see what we can do with that. I'm just swiping over that edge and then holding the material down with a lot of force downward. And that makes that tack to that edge really nicely. Okay, great, we'll keep moving along here. We'll come back and get all this down in a minute. We need to get this side in place first. Okay, since this is just stopped right here, you know, this is already tacked down, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can put just a tiny bit of stretch on that to help with that finger, which it does look like it helps. And because we're stretching on this line, we're not gonna leave a distortion in the adhesive, and we're not doing a ton of stretch either, just enough to get rid of that, a lot of that finger there. That'll just make it even easier to push down. Sometimes when you let an area like this sit for so long and you stretch away from it, you can leave a line right there in the material. And that would be a problem if it wasn't right on the corner. Like if it was right here, it'd be obviously more noticeable. But since it's on that bend, even if it did happen, you wouldn't see it. All right, now we'll come up to the top here, check how we're looking. That looks pretty good. Got a little bit wrapping over there, which is gonna be good. I'm actually just gonna go up to here. This part keeps wanting to turn this way. We're obviously stretching the material back that direction, and that's why this is popping up and why we have fingers on that side. All right, let's get some tack in there now. Okay, let's get all this down. Swiping that down, little slide chomp here. I think that's going to be too long right there. So I'm actually not going to let that go way down in there. Let's trim that first. So back to about right there, that's gonna need to be trimmed. Just let that sit for now. Let's get this part down. Okay, then just do a swipe and hold on these edges here. All right, that looks like that should go down well with some heat after it dries. All right, let's get some tack in this part too and roll that over. All right, we are totally out of rubbing alcohol. Slip solution. Gonna have to go mix up another batch. Okay, a little slide jump there. So I definitely made this a little bit more difficult by adding on to this part, but I like the fact that it wraps down in here much better than not wrapping down in here. So I think it's well worth it. Kind of tough to get something in here though. Let's see if we could use our finger. All right, that went good. All right, and this side I want to trim a little bit before I tuck it in. Great. All right, let's go put a trim on this part here and then we'll wrap that in. So I'm gonna kind of start out here in the middle of this and cut this way and then go back that direction. I'm gonna hold this onto the glass and I'm just gonna go run down the edge of the glass with the blade. Just on the side of it. Okay. Now I should be able to do a regular cut. Get a little bit closer here. Okay. There's not quite as much to wrap to next to this plastic here. Oh, but probably there is if you open it. So you could leave that the same length. I still gave myself plenty to wrap over, but great, that's way down in there. Yeah, actually that was a good amount to leave over. It's going right to the edge there. Yeah, that's a little big. Let's go ahead and cut some of this off. So when I start a cut like this, it's hard to cut on the very edge and make it real, it's hard to start there. So I start out kind of in the middle like this somewhere. All right, and then we come back this way. That'll help us take this down just to a tiny little sliver like that. So my thumb is actually running on that very edge to help keep a nice straight line. Okay. Go ahead and tuck that in now. I'm gonna just use a chomp or a slide chomp to get this down and in place. So you can see when I'm doing that chomp, I'm actually rolling the squeegee over this top, and that makes sure that we get the whole edge really well, so we don't leave any moisture behind. Okay, it's a little tough with this guy in the way, but find a way. All right, that's gonna need some tack solution. Let's see if I have just a few drips for it. Here we go. Just enough to get this video done. Pretty ridiculous. So I had a little finger right there, so I went ahead and lifted it back up so that I could distribute that finger away from that area. Okay, that looks great. All right, well, that's the process of installing a kit on the rear hatch, on the top part of a rear hatch on a Tesla Model X. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll throw this in here as well, and then this is just gonna sit and dry. All right, let's see what the kit looks like for this and how it fits. So it looks like it's just going to cover right to the edges and not wrap at all. And this is the exact kit from the computer. We didn't make any adjustments to this one. Let's go ahead and, basically I'm using my fingers here to feel the edge and lining up that edge really well. I can adjust it by pushing a little bit on it with my hand if necessary to get the alignment corrected. All right, something like that looks really good. Go ahead and squeegee this part out. Line it up over here, kind of check it out in the middle here, and we'll just work our way across. The reason I checked this side first is just to make sure that we don't need any stretching from left to right. Because if we do, you want to stretch it throughout this whole piece instead of just trying to stretch like a tiny bit here. So you double check that side. It looks like it's lined up really well. And then we'll go ahead and squeegee this out. So every time I put my fingers down, I'm realigning the piece on the edges. Okay, just gonna slap some of this water out of the edge there. That can start drying. So you can see it's like dark here and then it's more silver right here, if you can see that. And that's just because when I slap the water out of there, it goes silver looking. And that'll start drying, and then we can just push that down with the heat sealing process. All right, terrific. Well, that's the process of installing paint protection film on this Model X, the top part of this hatch. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, like and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you on the next one.